Hey guys, welcome back. Bolt Spider here, and today we have another episode of How to Deck Build today, and we're going to be rolling for one of the last 5 decks, and let's see what we get. I hope it's a good deck that could definitely be something. We have Spellbooks. Spellbooks is an interesting archetype, as I've built them time and time before, and Spellbooks is more of a deck that you just kind of build. And nowadays, it's really fallen off of how the decks really is. Now, luckily, I've built this so much that I kind of know the understanding of how the deck runs. So let's do a small rundown. First off, we have High Priestess of Prophecy. This is one of your main cards of the deck. You reveal 3 spellbooks in your hand, special summon it, and you can banish the spellbook spell card from your hand or graveyard, target a card on the field, and destroy it. I'm going to be doing the one Temperance of Prophecy because if you activate a spell card this turn, you contribute this card, special summon a level 5 or higher dark spellcaster from your deck, so it gets to your High Priestess. And finally, you cannot special summon level 5 or higher during the turn you activate it. And then finally, we have Spellbook Magician of Prophecy, being if it's normal or flip face up, you add any of your spellbook cards. Now we have Spellbook and Knowledge. You send a spellcaster you control or a spellbook card from your hand or face up on the field to the graveyard, and it draws you 2 cards, and you can only activate 1 knowledge per turn. Power gains, or you target a spellcaster you control, the monster gains 1,000, and if it destroys a monster by battle, you can add a spellbook card from your deck. It does stack with multiples, so that's always a good thing. You have spellbook libraries of the Crescent. It gets you 3 of your spellbook cards. You reveal them. Your opponent adds 1 and put the rest back into the deck, and you can only activate spellbook cards for the rest of the turn. Spellbook of Masters is if you control a spellcaster, you target a spellbook normal spell card in your graveyard, and this card copies that effect. We have Spellbook Eternity that targets a banished spellbook card and returns it back to your hand. Spellbook of Secrets is our reinforcements of the army of the deck to search out our spell cards. You also have Spellbook of Wisdom, which is a spell protection or trap effect depending on which one you activate. Spellbook of Fate is one of the better ones because you could banish 3 spellbooks from your graveyard, banish a card your opponent controls, or you can Book a Moon or Book a Taiyu something, or you can compulse a spell or trap card on the field. After that, we have Spellbook Starhall. It gains counters. Per each counter, your spellcaster gains 1,000 or 100 attack per each spell counter. When this card with spell counters is destroyed, you add a spellcaster monster from your deck to your hand whose level is equal to or less than the original number of spell counters. Spellbook of Life is just a monster born by banishing a spellcaster type monster from your graveyard, revealing a spellbook card in your hand, then you special summon that spellcaster in attack position, and the equipped monster's level is increased by the level of the monster that was banished. So if you use your Spellbook Magician, you banish that, and then summon out High Priestess, it becomes a level 9. And then finally we have the Grand Spellbook Tower. This is during the standby phase, spellcaster monster on the field, or in your graveyard, place a spellbook card from your graveyard on the bottom of the deck, then draw 1. And when it's destroyed by an opponent's card or effect and sent to the graveyard, you special summon 1 spellcaster type monster from your hand or deck whose level is less than or equal to the number of spellbooks in your graveyard. This deck is just based around doing spellbook stuff. And finally, we do have the Crowley, which reveals 3 spellbook cards with different names in your hand or from your deck. Your opponent picks 1 and shuffle the rest into deck. So this is just a Crescent, but each turn, 1 level 5 or higher spellcaster type monster can be normal summoned without tributing. So you can get your priestesses out for free, but also it takes 2 spellcaster monsters to make this. But this is just Crescent in a Link monster form, but it doesn't lock you into anything else. Now, one of the engines we can run, which is brand new, Adventurer engine. So this engine is quite small, being the 9 cards that it is, so it can fit perfectly in. Another engine you can also do is Sky Striker, which is really just the 1 engage, the 1 afterburner, the Shark Cannon, the Hornet Drone, the Widow Anchor, and then 3 of each of the links if you want. But most of the time it's going to be triple Kagari and then the triple Shizuku. You can also do things less of those, so you can run like the 2 Kagari, the 1 Shizuku. You also can run the Kaina, or you can just run one of each attribute if you want. But in this case, since we're going to be going with a little heavier spell focus, we're going to have to alter some of the ratios of our spellbook cards. Luckily, we don't need terraforming because we have 6 ways to get to our towers, so we have 9 copies. We have pretty much 9 copies of every spellbook card in the deck. And I feel like Crescent isn't as good anymore, so that's a card that we can cut. And one of the great things about Aquamancer, you can actually summon it off a Star Hall if you want to. So it's an extra body that you could summon, and then next turn you can get your Rite of Armesier, which is very good. Now, for the Afterburner, it could also be a Jamming Waves, so that's one thing to consider. But what other cards would I really remove from the deck? I think I want to remove the Temperance, and this deck really has no room for hand traps. So that's why I'm falling back on the whole entire Adventurer engine, along with the Sky Strikers. Now, let's put in all the generic stuff. So we have our Exix code, along with Nightmare Unicorn and Phoenix. Now, other than that, it's really just filler cards and good generic cards. So one of the other filler cards that we can run are things like Boral Sword Dragon, and really any other good generic Link monster. You can also run the Almirage, just in case. And it's just all your opinion on what you want to do. Other than that, we have 2 slots left. So we could do, I don't know, Ningirisu maybe, and another random card. Maybe if you want to run Super Polys in the side deck, which is also a very good option. So Starving Venom is one of the options we could do. And this is pretty much the deck. We're running Adventure, Spellbook, Sky Striker, and let's see a test hand. So this is actually a very good starting hand, as we can activate our Star Hall first. Then we can activate our Grand Spellbook Tower, gaining a counter on our Star Hall, grabbing the Rite of Armesier, and we're going to be activating the Rite of Armesier to summon out a token. After that, we're going to activate our Journey Destiny that we sadly drew, grabbing that, grabbing a Griffin Rider, and we're going to have to pitch the Wisdom. Then we're going to summon the Griffin Rider, and we get the search of our spell card. So this deck is very kind of just lackluster, as this is just 1 negate, and we can probably run things like Verte into DPE, which is actually a good idea, since we can do Fusion Destiny if we really want to, along with Destiny Hero stuff, being the Dasher, the Celestial, and the DPE being other options that you can run over the Sky Striker cards. So if you did this over Sky Striker stuff, it would more so look almost similar, but you would be out on some of your extra cards here and there. So it's just really up to you on how you want to play the deck. Now, one of the changes you could also do is cut knowledge down to 2. But other than that, it really just depends on how you play. As if we tested hand like this, it is almost kind of a brick, as we could just go Secrets, grab out a Spellbook Magician. Now this does lock us out of things from the adventurer side, but in my opinion that is fine. Now we just activate our Spellbook Master, reveal the knowledge, and we get a copy of the Secrets. And finally, we're going to grab that Star Hall, because having the counters on it is very helpful, I would have to say. And we have a Fate, Grand Spellbook Tower, and we are all set up on Fate. We had 3 to banish, and we could set the Draco back as a bluff. But overall, this deck just needs a huge consistency boost. It's missing something very important. And in all honesty, Spellbook isn't as good as it was. But anyways, I hope you guys did enjoy this video. I hope it was a little more insightful on how you could build the deck. But anyways, see you guys in the next video.